So a brisket is a lot like a business problem. It's ugly, it's nasty. The piece of meat may really not be appetizing at all, but ultimately you've got to transform it into something worth eating. So you've got to make sure in a consulting engagement that you're solving the right problem. If we're out to make a brisket and we start working with a pork butt, well, things just aren't going to match.
So you've done this a number of times.
Yeah.
And as you're learning, I'm guessing you asked a lot of questions up front.
Yes.
Go to the butcher, ask a lot of questions, but you still ask those same questions to make sure you're getting the right cut.
Absolutely. So we're going to transform this hunk of meat into a delicious meal. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to look for pieces maybe that the butcher missed. Now, on the back, we've got this really gnarly end. It's got a lot of extra fat on it. It's got a lot of dangly bits on it that are actually just going to burn up. And so we've got to make sure that we trim those off. Now, a little bit about the knife that I'm using. A knife is a lot like a tool that you might use to solve a business problem. It's got to be very sharp. It's got to do what its intended purpose is. So I'm going to start with a nice sprinkling of human experience. I want to make sure I get everything covered. I want to understand how the people involved in these systems that were represented by this problem actually function. What is their everyday work like? How do I improve it for them? Maybe there's learning and development that happens here. Maybe there's some training that has to happen. And ultimately, I'm going to bring in some engineering. I want to be able to apply my data and insights team. I want to be able to apply my technology and cloud team. Maybe there's infrastructure support. Maybe I'm doing some AI and modeling. Whatever I can bring to season this problem, that's what I want to apply. I want a nice even coat, even here on the sides, to make sure that we're getting the most value out of this business opportunity. So we know our equipment, we know our wood, we've got our problem defined, and ultimately it is time, that side down, it is time to make this and solve this problem. So what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna pick this guy up right in the middle. We're gonna put that smoke tube and we're gonna drape our brisket over it. The reason being is that we're gonna get a lot of pooling of fat. As this renders and all the intermuscular fat that's in here renders, it's gonna start pooling up on top. If it's flat, that pooling gets even worse. And that takes away from all your beautiful bark that you've got on the outside. So we wanna have a little hump in the middle so that a lot of that fat goes over the side and down into our retaining tray. All right, now the real work starts, solving the problem. So we've got our brisket cooking away for about the next 10 hours, give or take.
So now, how do you know what the right duration is?
Simply put, because we've done it before. The primary issue here is we've got to make sure that we're cooking for color. We want to make sure that our temperature is properly maintained. And so simply, you've got to check. We've done it so much. I've done it on so many different grills. We've executed these, solved these problems with so many different clients. We know what we're looking for. So we've got a lot of time. We're gonna make a great sauce. We might drink a beer, but we're definitely gonna make sauce. Now, I've got all the ingredients here, but if we're talking about what makes presentation really work, whether it's brisket or whether it's a business problem, I have to have a layer of human experience on top. And this is a differentiator from restaurant to restaurant, from consulting company to consulting company. And so I might need some training. That's my brown sugar. I might need some cumin. This is all about my learning and development. I might need some marketing, which is really spicy. I've got some chili powder there. I've got some salt and pepper. This is my foundation of service mapping. I've got some Worcestershire sauce. My Worcestershire sauce is all about creative design, just a little bit of extra blend. I've got some apple cider vinegar, which is organizational effectiveness. I've got my white vinegar, which is change management. I've got some water, which is the project management that all those other elements go into. And then we've got ketchup. Now, there's no magic to this. It all gets mixed up. I do want to put this on heat, but I don't need to boil it. I only need to put it on enough heat to make sure that everything gets mixed properly. Just gonna spend some time whisking it, let the flavors get to know one another, Let it get just a twinge of smoke on it. Now, again, don't let it boil, just let it heat up, let it thin out just a little bit, and you're good to go.
Looks, to my eye, like it's about done. How do we know for sure?
Well, for any brisket, you want to make sure that you've got a nice, pretty dry outdoor crust. And that crust is set, it doesn't have anything that's flaking off, and you still have some wiggle in your brisket. Now, it's shrunk up a lot, and that's okay because you've expelled all the water out of it. But we're looking pretty good now. All right, I think it's ready to come off.
All right.
All right, so all the work has been performed on this ugly business problem. And now we've got something that provides a lot of value.
It's transformed.
Transformed. Voila.
All right, so we have our crust and the bark. We have the brisket wiggle.
Yep.
Now let's cut the sucker open and see what the smoke ring looks like.
All right, so we are doing our final presentation to the client. We are releasing this business problem back into the world, and we're gonna start with the money shot. And so as we squeeze, you can just see all the juice that's coming out. And we have an awesome little smoke ring up top. We've got a nice, clearly defined brisket. We are releasing this solution out into the world, and just look at all that. It's beautiful. All right, so when we cut this, we actually want to go against the grain. So you can see on our flat particularly, our grain runs this direction. We want to cut across that. So I'm going to break some rules here. I'm going to put some sauce on this brisket. But you just can't beat it. So I think we need another quality test. Definitely a quality test. Awesome. A little sweetness to the sauce, a little bit of bite from the vinegar, a little bit of bite from the cumin and the chili, but it's all really well balanced together. It's not overly sweet, like a lot of the commercial stuff you'd buy at the store, not a ton of sugar, but boy, just right and balanced. So the delivery's done. We've transformed this gnarly piece of meat into something with a lot of value that will help a lot of people. It's the same as the transformation that happens with any business problem. Given enough time, given enough pressure, given the right temperature, given the right subject matter experts and the right capabilities, we can make something that can solve business problems and provide a lot of value to a lot of people at your organization. Now, let's eat.
I'll go get the beer.
All right.